They were all outside my house, the police. And I was explaining the copper saying, well, he was right. I said, no, he was on private property. The Road Traffic Act doesn't apply on private property. And he said, well, it was public accessible. I said, yeah. I said, but my path's publicly accessible. I said, if my cow's in my driveway, right, it doesn't need tax and insurance. Even if you're sitting in it, even if it's running, it's not on a public highway. So you don't need it. It doesn't come under the legislation. But he wouldn't have it with me. He was saying, no, it's public access. I said, yeah, but public access doesn't mean it's access to private property. Public can be access to private property. It doesn't mean that private property is public property. It's not on the highway. Even though it's got public access, it's still private. Because you can walk onto farmland, private land, and it's not part of the highway code. It doesn't come under the Road Traffic Act.
Is that like things like Pedder's Way, where you've got the public footpaths that...
Yeah, public right of way through farmland. Because the public's got a right to enter private land. That's why they got the public right of way. See, like the copper was saying to me, well, I said, well, if that car is in a private property, it doesn't come under legislation. It's in private property. It's like, do you know what proves that? Do you know if you've got a car and you've got no tax, you can't say you can't afford the tax and insurance. So what you do, you sawn it off-road. And it's got to be off-road on your driveway. So while it's on your driveway, it doesn't need to be taxed. And that's why you're sawn off-road. So if you're sawn a car off-road and it's in your drive, it doesn't come under the highway.
But it does have to be sawn though, doesn't it? You can't have a car on your driveway.
But who says that, Chris?
I'm pretty sure that's what they say. They.
Who said, that's DVLA policy, yeah?
Oh, but we don't work for them, do we?
No, well, listen as well, right? DVLA, right, is a private company on Companies House. Everyone knows that now. It's a private company for profit, right? They've got no authority to force their policy on anybody unless they've agreed to it. And what they're saying is because you've applied for a license and this thing, you come under their policy. But I have never signed a contract with full terms and conditions. Basically, all the acts and statutes of the Road Traffic Act should be there for you to read and sign and agree to. I've never done that. So none of their agreements and obligations to the Road Traffic Act or the DVLA, none of them are genuine. They're not enforceable because you wasn't given full terms and conditions of actually what you're agreeing to, was you?
No. Much like something else in 2020.
When you fill in, see, the way it works, you know about the MCO document, yeah?
I have heard of it, but you can remind me of its...
The manufacturer's certificate of origin.
Right, yeah.
When you create something, whoever creates it owns it. So the manufacturers who make the cars, they have to create a certificate when they pass it on or they sell it to the dealer, or when they give it to the dealer. They've got this manufacturer's certificate of origin to show that they own that property until somebody pays for it and buys it. And then they're supposed to give them that as proof of ownership. But what the DVLA does, right, when you go and buy a new car, you go to the dealer, you go and pay them the money, sign all the paperwork, and you guarantee it. They say, well, we'll get your car, we're going to clean it up, we'll valet it, we'll do this and that. You can pick it up in a couple of days. In that couple of days, they send that MCO document to the DVLA because they need that to register that car as theirs. So they register the property, the automobile, as theirs, and then they send the V5 back to the dealer. Then when you go to pick your car up with the dealer, he gets you to sign that V5. So then you're registering yourself as keeping the car for the DVLA. You don't own it.
No, you're registered keeper.
Yeah, it's so devious and deceitful. It's all fraud. Because when you sign no DVLA document, the V5 says on it that by registering it as the keeper, you don't own the car, you're keeping it for them. And part of their policy is if you're keeping their property, you've got to look after it, you've got to tax it, you've got to insure it in case it gets damaged.